content at current account engagement users who are interested in exploring the Marketing Cloud on Core feature set. The content in here is assuming that you meet the requirements to turn that functionality on. You're looking forward to the roadmap of how that's going to evolve over time. We noticed that there are some non-Pardot customers in the room, and of course, anybody is welcome to attend and learn from this. But just know that the content here is going to be geared at current Pardot customers. And so if you have any questions and something that isn't addressed because of your focus, just ping us afterwards and we'd be happy to chat through that. And before we start showing you some cool stuff, these are the system requirements to enable the new growth features if you're an existing Pardot customer. So Enterprise Edition, current SKU of Pardot, enabling Data Cloud, so just turning it on with the free Data Cloud SKU, no like massive implementation lift there. And then depending on what you want to execute, you may need to also purchase some credits to fuel Growth Edition. And what we're going to cover today, so the headline here is that account engagement customers now have access to Marketing Cloud growth features. So we're going to be digging into what that means, what the future of Marketing Cloud looks like. We'll get into it like a live demo in a production environment, talk through specific features, and then ideas for how to get started with this, whether you're kind of in the like wait and see, dip your toe in the water camp, or if you want to dive fully in and start using some of this functionality right away. This banner is what triggered this webinar. So account engagement customers got this popping up in their org last week, and we immediately started getting questions from customers that included like, what is this? What is account engagement on Marketing Cloud? Weren't we already on Marketing Cloud? Is this Marketing Cloud on Core thing that we've been hearing about? Do I get charged if I like click through the screens? What is it? Is sort of the bottom line. And some of the confusion is around the naming of this product. So this simple tool has had many names over its journey. So pre-release, some of the terms you might have heard, Marketing Cloud Professional was a working name for a while. Marketing Cloud on Core is a common one. Internally at Salesforce, they often refer to it as the Unified Marketing Application, or UMA for short. When it launched, Marketing Cloud Growth Edition, Marketing Cloud on the Einstein 1 platform. At Dreamforce, we had a couple of new names referred to. And then in the winter release, we're seeing a whole lot of new terminology popping up for this. But the long and short, kind of what we call it internally at Sercante, is we're talking about the future of Marketing Cloud. So Marketing Cloud reborn, rebuilt on top of Data Cloud, and interoperable with all of the features of the core Salesforce platform. And I look backwards at how we got here. If you've been in the ecosystem for a while, you know that Marketing Cloud has grown a lot through acquisition. So scooping up best of breed tools and bringing those capabilities to Salesforce customers. And as these products were brought on board, the focus was on, okay, how do we integrate this so that our customers can start getting value from these tools as quickly as possible? But as we look forward to the future of AI, the future of connected data, the buy a bunch of cool tools and integrate them together approach, like we've reached the shelf life of that strategy. So what Salesforce is looking at doing now is moving away from all these legacy tech stacks, all these tools that behind the scenes have required some integration lift, and moving to a single unified marketing experience. So built on Core, which means it works with industry clouds, it works with AppExchange products, works with marketing, sales, service, commerce, all of the other Salesforce products that are already built on Core. Composable services, which means like if you have an email builder that works with Sales Cloud, it's also going to work with Marketing Cloud. It's also going to work with Commerce Cloud. You're not going to need to have different creation experiences in different parts of the platform. And the vision of why this matters, the three biggest drivers here are, again, getting to that one trusted shared platform, interoperable tools across all parts of the platform, AI, like I don't know how you guys have been reacting to some of the content that's out there about AI, but every time I see a shiny demo of like, oh, look how easy it is, you just drop this in and like all this magic happens. In my head, I'm looking at that saying, like, okay, in real life, that's a team of 6 people. They're logging into 6 to 8 platforms along the way. And the lift for AI to really automate that is not going to be possible until we're on a shared infrastructure. So that's one of the huge drivers behind Marketing Cloud on Core. And then personalization. Personalization has sort of been like one of those drum beats of marketing literally for the last decade. But when we look at how companies are actually executing on personalization, we still have a really long way to go in most organizations to do that with any level of sophistication. So things like pulling in order history, next best product, like those are really hard today. And the vision of Marketing Cloud on Data Cloud is that some of those things will be more streamlined in the future. The two kind of key product components that are required to power all of this. So Data Cloud, again, is at the center of what we're talking about here. When Data Cloud first came out, the positioning was it's for enterprise only, like super big, multi-million-dollar implementations, like 2 to 3 year roadmaps. We are not there anymore. It's not just for enterprise. We have SMB customers that are using Data Cloud. You can get it stood up quickly and efficiently. And this is going to be the back end for all of Salesforce in the future state. Marketing Cloud Growth Edition, that's, I guess, the most commonly used in-market name for the product right now. But when we say that term, we're referring to the marketing tool set that's built on top of Data Cloud. It includes Gen AI and Data Cloud out of the box. So as part of the SKU, you're getting access to some of those features. And then it supports multi-channel campaigns with a single view of the customer. Experience Cloud, Salesforce Flow, those are woven into growth. It's not a separate experience. It's all part of the same experience. But again, the idea is that all of those core features are coming to life as part of this growth edition. A point I want to make on this slide is this is a new, quote unquote, new product in that it hasn't been around as long as Pardot or Marketing Cloud Engagement, but it's not like it was born yesterday. This product has actually been in market since June of 2023. It was quietly released in the Salesforce Starter SKU. So small businesses getting their hands on that, using some of Growth's early features. Growth Edition came out in February of last year. The marketing for foundations that was announced at Dreamforce, that contains Growth. And then Advanced Edition is the newest SKU, for lack of a better term, that's going to be available starting in November. So it's new, but it's not, we're not bleeding edge yet. It's been in market and tested by customers. And what the kind of feature set that's going to be built out on Core, intelligent, so reporting and analytics, like expect that to be reimagined. The personalization experience, again, AI, content creation, and content tools that are shared across the platform, and then automation and unified messaging. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Erin to walk through features and get into a demo of what you can expect to see in Growth.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so let's talk about what features and functionality is actually in Growth. You know, some of the highlights here, it's built on Core. I know we've mentioned it a couple times, but I'm going to keep drilling that home. I think especially if you're coming from the account engagement side, you have probably dealt with finding integrations or other tools where you're told, you know, they integrate with Pardot. And then once you dig into them, they integrate with Salesforce, not Pardot, because a lot of third parties and stuff think that's the same, but it can pose problems for account engagement or Pardot users. So because this is built on Core, that's no longer an issue, which I know makes things a lot easier in my world. It seamlessly works with Data Cloud and breaks down those data silos. So it makes your AI better because your AI is seeing your full data, your full customer life cycle. It's not seeing partitioned or broken data. And we all know, you know, AI is going to, excuse me, AI is going to be better the better the data that it can use is. And then finally, this tool includes the flexibility of Salesforce flows, and it utilizes those shared builders across the different clouds. So every time your users are having to use a different piece of Salesforce, they're not having to learn a new user interface, a new set of options, all of that. It's going to give you an easier and more unified user experience. So this is just kind of an overview of some of the bells and whistles that are in growth. We are going to dive into most of these, but essentially, I kind of put together what our account engagement users going to be most excited about, and that's what we'll really dive into today. So the first feature that I really love is these campaign templates. So Growth has a very campaign-centric workflow. When you're in the marketing app and you create a campaign, it's going to first present you with these templates to help get you started. So not only are you starting from like a blank screen, but each of these templates are going to help you create the pieces that you need for your campaign. So the email or form or landing page that you need, the segment that you're trying to target, the flow that you need to automate it, that's all going to be built into these templates, and then you customize it from there. Just a quick overview of what's available. We've got single email with Einstein. So that is going to help you generate copy with Einstein Generative AI. It's also going to use Einstein to help you find the right segment to target your audience. If you don't want to use Einstein, we still have single email here. So that will help you generate all the pieces that you need to send your email, but without Einstein helping you with content and segment creation. Message series is similar to an engagement studio program. So just sending your prospects multiple emails over time. Then we have sign up form. So that's a form and a landing page. And one of the great things here is with the flow powering your form, you can really be flexible on like what happens to the data after a form is filled out. If you want it to go to different places, or you want to create a lead and also a task for your sales team and populate it with the information from the form, you can do that within the tool. Then we have single SMS message. So SMS is built into this platform natively, and this template will just help you start building your SMS messages and a flow to send them out. And then if you don't want anything created, when you start this, you can do blank email. That's going to be more beneficial if you already have, emails or flows or segments built in the system that you're just reusing. Then you can always start with a blank email and then just drop in the correct assets. And then one of the newest templates we have down here is blank event. This came out in the last release. So this is going to be an event triggered flow. So if you have someone subscribe or fill out a form and you want things to happen after that event, you'll use this campaign type. All right, so as I said, SMS is built into the platform. The only thing you need is SMS credits to get this feature basically turned on so you can get your short or long code into the system and get ready to send these messages. But it does have a builder where you can customize your messages and all of the details about it. You can also use merge fields in your messaging there.
Yeah, and as a frame of reference, as Erin mentioned, you do have to get credits to activate these features. But Circana is going through the process of this right now, and I think it was $75 like total. So credits are cost effective and definitely experimentation friendly if you want to test that out.
Yeah, for sure. All right, this is another feature that I'm super excited about, the brand guidelines and growth. So if you're an account engagement user, you have probably lived the scenario where you need to change the CTA button in all of your email templates. You want to make it a different color, a different size. So now you have to go into all of your templates and edit that HTML to change that button. With growth, you have a central location to customize your branding and change your branding. So you can go into growth and set brand guidelines. You can also have multiple brands if you have like different branches or different products. And then when your users build assets, they can apply the brand guidelines to not only style their asset without them having to know your hex codes or anything like that, but also if you later change your brand guidelines, it will trickle down to all of the assets using those guidelines. Also, with the winter release, voice and tone came out. So you can specify the voice and tone of your brand if it's more casual, professional, inspiring. And then your Einstein generative AI will generate content using that voice and tone. All right, so I know we've talked a lot about Einstein. There are a lot of Einstein features built into this tool right out of the box. What users tend to be most excited about is the generative AI. So in those campaign templates I showed earlier, you have the option to use Einstein. And what it's going to do here is generate a campaign brief for your campaign. So if you go back, 6, 12 months down the line, you can see what the campaign was for, what the key message was, what the KPIs are, and just help with your reporting. It'll also generate campaign assets. So for an email, that's going to be your subject line, your pre-header, and your body copy. Now, you can edit everything it generates after the fact, but it's going to help you kind of get started faster. You're not starting with just a blank screen. So it's going to inspire, more creative thinking, give you something to start with, give you something to kind of mold into your ideal message. Another Einstein feature that's in here that account engagement users may be familiar with is Einstein send time optimization. So what that does is it gets your recipients their messaging at the time they're most likely to engage. So if I open my emails at 7 a.m. every day and Andrea opens her emails, she waits until 10 a.m., it will send us email messages at those different times so it can increase your engagement. All right. I think I'm going to say this with every slide, but this is another feature I'm excited about. I'm very excited about this tool. Cross-object merge fields. So with Growth, there's a feature called data graphs that you can map information from any object to use in your assets. So say you want to send an email out after someone makes a purchase and you want to insert what they ordered, maybe when their contract starts, maybe the AE that they worked with, some of their contact information. You want to put all of that into an email. Account engagement users have felt kind of the pain of like being able to reach into other objects and grab information for merge fields. So with Growth and data graphs, that's no longer an issue. As long as you just map it in your graphs, you can pull in all that information and use it as merge tags in your assets. All right, so we've mentioned a couple times, this is powered by Salesforce Flow. If you have never used Flow, I know sometimes the reaction is that Flow is big and scary. I promise you it's not. As someone who learned Flow, I think last year, and now I can build a Flow for pretty much anything you can imagine. It seems a little bit scary if you haven't touched it, but I promise once you build your first Flow, it will click and you'll get it. But another thing about the Flow in Growth is it's not the same as the Salesforce backend flow in the ways of, you don't have 10 million options of all the things you can do in a backend Salesforce flow. This flow is dialed slightly back, so it is tailored to what marketers are going to need to do. The actions they need to perform, the decisions they need to look at, so on and so forth. So it's very user friendly. Also, it really helps you be more flexible and granular about your processes and the order of operations, when things happen, stuff like that. So, if someone fills out a form and I want to create content in 3 different areas and I want to alert a couple different people and I want to clean up their data before it goes into the system, I can do all of those steps with Flow. So it really gives users more control of their processes. All right. Another big benefit is the segmentation with Data Cloud. So with Einstein, it's going to allow you to give the system a prompt of who you're trying to target. And Einstein will look through all of the available data and suggest fields that get you to that target. So you don't have to remember every single field that is at your fingertips and where the data is coming from and what has data, what doesn't. The segmentation features of growth are going to help you do that. And it uses natural language prompts, not code. So you don't need to know code in order to use this tool. All right, and I think this is the last feature in here before we get to the demo. I did want to show you that there is some built-in analytics and reporting that will auto-generate. It looks very familiar using kind of the Salesforce dashboard layout, but it will auto-generate reports on your campaigns, and then it has filters so you can dial into specific campaigns or date ranges. Oh, no, I got one more feature before the demo. So in account engagement, we have scoring and grading. In growth, we have fit and engagement scoring. Pretty much the same concepts, just more flexible in growth. So you can evaluate, who fits your target persona and how engaged they are. But one thing I really love up here is so those two metrics combine to make a total score for your prospects. But up here, you can customize how much fit or engagement counts. So maybe engagement counts way more than your target persona. So you can make engagement, 70% of your total score, while fit would be 30. All right, so let's get into a quick demo. I do have a growth environment here. Let me go full screen. So I'm going to show you how Einstein can help me build an email here. I do need to copy my prompt real quick. I wrote out my prompt ahead of time because when people are watching me type, I just forget how to spell all words. So I'm going to copy paste it instead. So in here, we're going to create a campaign. And because I am in the marketing app, these campaign template options are going to pop up right afterwards. So I'm going to do single email with Einstein so you can see some of those Gen AI capabilities. And in here, I'm going to put in my prompt. So essentially, I'm pretending like I'm creating an email to invite you guys to this webinar. So I've got invite our customers to a webinar covering growth and how it can be used with account engagement. And then I put in some date and time details there as well. So Einstein is going to think about it, and then it's going to give me campaign brief. So this will be stamped on my campaign so I know the purpose of this campaign, but campaign assets as well. So here I'm going to do looks good. And so what is done so far, it's generated an email to start with and a flow to send this out, and it'll also help me build my segment. But let's get into this email builder. All right, so here we can see the subject line and the pre-header that Einstein generated for me. I can edit it if I'd like, but I also have my email here, and I want to drop in a button to have people register. And let's put quick little margin around that. So this is using some default styling, but what I can do over here is select my brand and select Sercante branding. So this will change into the Sercante colors, fonts, all of that. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, and then we'll build our segment to get this out. So up here, I can do select segment. And if I already have a segment built, I can absolutely select one here, but I'm going to create a new one, do new segment, and create it with Einstein. So I'm going to let Einstein do the work for me. So Einstein is taking my original prompt and looking at the data available to pull the ideal segment. Now, one thing to keep in mind is this is a demo environment, so it doesn't have a lot of real data. So I think the only thing that should pop up is account contact. So basically, because I told it to look for customers, it's looking for people who've already made it to the contact stage. And then it's got some titles here that it's going to target. So I'm going to go ahead and do create segment so that can run in the background and start collecting prospects that I can send this email to. And then while that is happening, I'm going to go ahead and configure my flow for this campaign. So we've got up here, we can do open flow. So it did already create the basics of the flow for me. I'm just going to go in and add, some additional steps. All right. So in here, so up here, I can set a schedule and I can also select that segment once it's ready. But right now, all we have in here is just that email I wanted to send. But when you get in here, you can configure some options for that email. So we've got Einstein send time optimization. So that's available. I can turn that on and then specify the window that I want this email to go out to prospects. I can specify my from name and email address. Click and open tracking is on by default, but I can configure that if I'd like to. And then down here, we can specify what communication subscriptions this goes to make sure we're emailing people, who've opted in to hear about webinars or product updates. But I can just have this flow, just send the email and end, that's fine. But I can also add in, maybe I want to do a wait step, and then people who don't open the email in a couple of days get it again. So we're going to do wait until event. And then I'll say wait 3 days. We've got our object email. We want to see if they clicked a link, and then I can do any link or the links in my email. I didn't add a link to that button. So right now we only have social media, and then set the number of, I'm going to do days that I wanted to wait. But one thing I really wanted to point out to, especially account engagement users, is your wait steps can get down to minutes. I know doing wait steps or sending an email in hours is like new functionality. And I am so excited that now not only can we get hours, but we can get down to minutes. But here I'm going to do days. And then what I'll do here is if they have not clicked that email in the 3 days, I can just add another send email message step here. And I will, here it is. And I just select the same email, or if I have a second email, I can do that as well. All right, so that's a quick demo just so you get to see the tool. But let's go back to our deck. All right, Andrea, I think you're gonna talk through these next ones.
Yes, and I just want to pause a second for I've been trying to respond to the chat comments as they've been coming in. Um, we'll talk through just a couple of quick coming soon slides and then pause to answer any questions that we haven't gotten to into the chat yet. But thinking ahead on like what's available today, what's it coming in future releases, what I would encourage you to sort of mentally anchor on is like if there's a specific feature that you're looking for, like something that Pardot does really well today that you like, that Marketing Cloud Engagement does that you really like. With growth, it's not a question of if Marketing Cloud is going to do it, it's just when is it going to do it. So there are some features that we know we have customers who know and love that aren't available in growth yet, like form handlers was one that was mentioned in the chat. But it's gonna be here soon. The February release we know is like stuffed with new awesome things. And I've never seen such rapid development on a Salesforce product, honestly.
Yeah.
The second, I guess, two other just thoughts before we talk a little bit more about roadmap items. The term feature parity gets thrown around a lot with Marketing Cloud growth. Like, oh, is it at feature parity with Pardot? Is it at feature parity with engagement? And I think that's the wrong way to think about it, because the goal isn't to match what any product is doing. We are looking for a leap forward that is AI driven, that is linked to Data Cloud. So like feature parity is not the end in mind goal. It's how do we make everything smoother, easier, faster, better. Um, and the last call out is like expect big things of growth. The vision of this platform and the team that's working behind it, we have a really high level of trust in. And like I mentioned, I haven't seen a Salesforce product be stood up and like this rapidly deployed. So we're really excited about what the future holds there.
Yeah.
Aaron, I think we have 5 more roadmap slides, and then so let's touch on that, and then let's pause and answer some questions.
Okay. Yeah, so as we mentioned at the top of the webinar, Advanced Edition, so Marketing Cloud Advanced Edition is coming out in November. So I just wanted to talk through some of those features and some things we know are on the roadmap. So Advanced Edition, available in November. I believe it's going to be mid-November. It's going to have conversational SMS, a way to test your different paths, and some new predictive AI capabilities. And also, if you are an account engagement user with Plus, Advanced, or Premium Edition, you will get access to these features as well. All right, so first one is Path Experiment. So this is just testing different paths in your flow. What this will allow you to do is split your audience and send them down different flow paths. So you can test, content, what channel's getting better results, what cadence is getting better results. So this is a 2-path split, but you can do up to 10 paths across. And this whole little square right here is one experiment, and there is no limit to the number of experiments you can put in a flow. So super flexible capabilities here. The next big feature coming out in Advanced is conversational SMS. So instead of just having one-way conversations with your audience and they can only reply stop or help or just one-word commands, this is going to allow your SMS recipients to really respond with questions, more granular ask, stuff like that, and then you can act on their message with the unified data of your data cloud, or forward that conversation to a bot or an agent to take it from there. And then the additional Einstein features that are available in advance. So Einstein engagement frequency, which is available, some editions of account engagement, so it may seem familiar, but it will allow you to see if your audience member is, getting, it's kind of the Goldilocks tool. Are they getting too many emails, too little emails, or just right? Also, there's Einstein engagement scoring. So that is going to tell you, if I send this prospect another communication, are they going to open? Are they likely to engage? Are they likely to unsubscribe? So another way to make sure your audience is getting the right message at the right time. Some additional roadmap items, definitely safe harbor on this. Don't make any purchasing decisions based off of these forward-looking statements. But here's some things that are coming to Marketing Cloud on Growth. Account scoring. So if your org does account-based marketing, you can score on the account rather than the prospect. And that way you're going to target the right accounts for you rather than the individuals. A prospect object within CRM. So I know right now with account engagement, you may have a lot of unsynced prospects. So people you're not sending to Salesforce yet. That can pose a problem when we're talking about an Encore tool. So what will come to this tool eventually is a prospect object in CRM. So you actually have those prospects in your CRM, but you can still put them through the qualification process before you assign them to sales and they become an official lead. Email send blockout windows. So I know many times I've had other account engagement users say, we have a holiday or something happened and we want to just pause all our marketing for a period of time. Well, right now you have to go into all your campaigns and all your scheduled emails and pause them one by one, and then also later resume them one by one. So email send blockout windows are going to let you just set a time where all emails can be halted and then resumed later. Multiple business units are coming, so a way to partition your prospects and your marketing assets for your different brands or regions or however your team may work. And then reusable content blocks. So if you are familiar with Marketing Cloud Engagement, you may have seen how helpful the content blocks are over there, and you can replace them and you can update them in mass. Those features and functionalities are coming to this tool as well. So did you want to start here or stop here for questions?
Yeah, let's pause for questions. I've been trying to keep up in the chat, but I know that I haven't gotten to them all. So I'm just gonna scroll backwards and Aaron, I've been trying to answer the ones that I know the answer to. Some of them I want to tap you into for a fact check before we say anything.
Sure.
And webinar fam, this is new. We have a ton of internal documentation that we built on this. So a few of them we might need to take back to the team and take back and review some documentation and get you a specific answer. So be patient with us on this. One of the lots of questions about Data Cloud. I did answer that one in the chat, but you do need to enable the free Data Cloud SKU in order to use growth. All of these features are dependent on Data Cloud, so there is no growth without Data Cloud. Some questions, Aaron, about hard coding emails. So being able to put in raw HTML or access like the full HTML of an email. Can you comment on availability or roadmap for that?
So right now you can drag and drop an HTML component and put HTML there, but you can't do it like I think you're expecting account engagement to do it, where you switch to the HTML tab, drop the whole email HTML, and then it looks beautiful. That's not available yet. But from what I've heard from the product management team, that is something they're looking into, see how they can add.
Yeah. Yeah, that is high on the list of like features that we expect for customers to start adopting this widely. So going back to our previous statement, it's not an if it's going to do it, it's a when is it going to do it kind of thing. Frederic asked about availability for European customers. Do you recall, Aaron, on release timeline in Europe?
So it is available in EMEA. I think that came out in July. And then UMEA, which includes the UK, came out in September. So that is availability for growth in general. Now, I think SMS may have some different availability. And I think that's more granular by country. I don't know that off the top of my head.
All right. We had a question about the campaign object, but I think we addressed that one. Let's see. Roz asked about integration with Canva, and just wanted to, there isn't an integration with Canva today, but one of the things that I am personally most excited about with growth is the Salesforce ecosystem and the App Exchange, like all of the third-party products and integrations that can be built on the core platform. All of those developer brains that have been building that out in the broader ecosystem since 1999, that's available to us now with moving on to growth. So I think we're going to see an explosion of integrations and add-ons and other things that can be incorporated into marketing programs.
Yeah, definitely.
Aaron, lots of questions about sandboxes. Can you comment on availability today of growth in a sandbox?
I don't believe it's available in a sandbox right now. I believe Data Cloud is just now available in sandbox, and I think that's still in beta. So that's a little bit of why you can't pull growth into a sandbox. But I do know that is on the roadmap. I don't have a definite ETA though.
Okay, good to know. Limits. Aaron, is there a limit to the number of live flows within growth that you're aware of? Similar to how in account engagement, there's a like limit on running engagement studio programs.
There is. I know there is a number of active flows and a number of versions of one flow that you can have. I don't remember what that number is off the top of my head, but I do remember like I saw it and I was like, okay, this is not going to be a problem. It's not like I know repeating engagement studio programs, I think we're limited to like 10. So I do know the limit is much higher than that, and I don't think it'll really hold you back, but I just don't know off the top of my head.
Um, let's see. Um, Saria asked a question about the prospect object. That will be a Salesforce standard object, but it's expected for the February release. Is that correct, Erin?
Yeah, as far as I'm told, yes.
Okay. Brian, I'm talking about the benefits of growth with Pardot. We're gonna talk about that in the next couple slides. Ideas if you want to if you're a Pardot customer and you want to experiment with the features of growth. All right, I think I got through most of the questions. After we wrap this webinar, I'll go through them one by one, and if we missed yours, we'll be following up with you. So now let's dive into like where we go from here. Like if you're excited about some of the features that you're seeing, if you want to start experimenting with them, how do you get started with Growth Edition? And we've kind of bucketed this into three paths. The first is like just learn about it, like stay aware of what's happening, like keep tabs on what's going on. I think at a minimum, that's what all customers should do. And as marketing technologists, that's something that we're pushed to do all the time. Like keep tabs open on what's new and coming out. The second camp is like what I'd call like the dabblers camp, like starting to explore, testing things out, playing with the builders. Maybe you're not actually sending live emails, but you're just seeing what's out there. That's kind of the second level of engagement. The last one is like starting to adopt it. So executing some of your next campaigns using Marketing Cloud Growth, maybe switching some of your forms over to Marketing Cloud Growth, like truly leaning in and starting to use the new tool. So kind of breaking down like who's the fit for which type of option. So in the Learn Camp, again, like the expectation there would be like you're staying in the know. And if you're just not sure about wanting to make a move, you don't really have a compelling reason to switch, or maybe you're on an older edition so you don't qualify for free access to growth, this is a great thing to do. We are expecting, as I mentioned, like an explosion of features around growth in the February release. So this wait and see is a very viable option for a lot of customers. The second option, like start tinkering, like turn the things on. Like we can, if you're a Sercante customer, we can walk you through the setup of Marketing Cloud Growth. The wizard itself that's available in your org is also like a great way to just walk through that. But just enabling features, starting some testing. We'll have a training course that we're releasing as well if you want to get hands-on and kind of self-serve with that. And folks that I think are a good fit for this approach, if you want to take a strategic approach to evolving your tech stack, if you've been thinking about adding SMS to your current marketing channels, this is a great tool to experiment with what you're doing in addition to Pardot. If you're AI curious, like you haven't really started incorporating AI into your workflows, but you want to just kind of take a kick of those tires, this is a great way to start. Also, if you've run into any blockers around cross-object personalization or more complex data needs, digging into growth is definitely a great option for you. The third option, if you want to dive in, make it happen, this is a great fit for early adopters who are ready to say, like, I want to be on the cutting edge of what's next. I will say, like with any platform switch, you need to be prepared for, I'm used to doing it this way in this system. It's not going to work exactly the same way in another system. It's like switching from Spanish to Portuguese kind of thing. You have to be ready for some things to just be different, and being okay with that. If your org is already exploring Data Cloud, this is a great way to get ahead of that. And if you're just sick and tired of having to like log into silo tools and do things in 50 different places, highly recommend starting to adopt growth. Key activities there is like you need to go through the full setup process for growth. We would recommend working with I mean, we have a biased take on the world, obviously, as a consultant, but we would recommend working with a consultant on this to make sure you're laying the right foundation for how you're going to be using it. And Erin, you want to take us through kind of ideas for what to try out first if you're
Yeah.
diving into experiment or diving fully in with growth?
Yeah, so this is a common question. Like, okay, I want to try out growth, but like what do I do? What is a good use case? How do I dip my toes in without, spinning up something completely new and really evaluate if this platform will work for me? So a couple of suggestions, you can take, like, if you have a monthly newsletter or something you do on a monthly or quarterly basis, that is a great option to pull into growth and just see how it compares there versus account engagement. You can tinker with the AI functionality, spinning up a campaign, spinning up assets and segments, or establishing those brand guidelines and then applying them to assets and making changes, just kind of seeing how that trickles down. You can also take an existing process or nurture or lead generation form, take it out of your current system, whether you're doing that in Salesforce or account engagement, and pulling that into growth. And just seeing, what other options you have, how you may change your process or improve your process with the new features and functionality. So one thing to note, if you are going to use Marketing Cloud Growth, if you're going to be on the adopt level, you will need to purchase credits that fuel the model, because this works on Data Cloud, so it's got that Data Cloud credit consumption model. One thing to keep in mind when you're reaching out to your AE is that Salesforce AEs have to know engagement, account engagement, intelligence, personalization. They got to know core, and now we've thrown a new tool at them. And because Salesforce's AE team is so large, they're still going through enablement. So don't be alarmed if you reach out to your AE and say, hey, we're going to use growth and we need to purchase credits. And they say, what? They may still be getting enabled. We can always help you with those conversations. We've been working with the product team for a long time, so we can always help with enablement, and just kind of be your champion in your corner.
Yeah, Aaron said that very, very diplomatically, but the thing we want you guys to take away from this slide is AEs are real confused about this. Like, this is a new product. As Aaron mentioned, like, they're responsible for knowing a lot of products. We're seeing a lot of AEs put misinformation out into the market. Like, there were some comments in the chat around like AEs referring to this as like a free trial when it isn't. So if you talk to your AE about credits, or talk to your AE about growth, and you hear something that's different than what you heard on this webinar, feel free to tap us in, because like Aaron said, we'd love to be your champion and make sure that you have the latest and greatest source of truth, and that you have the data that you need on what's happening with the product, so that you can make the right decisions about your tech stack. So take things with a grain of salt is sort of the bottom line of this slide.
Yeah. All right, so next steps, if you're ready to get started and you want Sercante to help you, we would love to talk more. We would love to help you be successful with this tool. If you're not currently working with us, you can reach out to Jesse at sercante.com. He is our head of sales, and he will get you to the person who can help you with your next steps. Or you can scan this QR code and we'll reach out to you if you prefer. If you're already a client, first off, thank you for joining this webinar. We love to see you. But also just let your engagement manager know that you're interested in taking next steps, and we'll figure out what next steps are right for you. So we do have time for questions. I think we got a couple minutes. I am going to put this slide up while we go through questions. This is just if you want to learn more about Data Cloud and AI, this is one of our upcoming workshops we have. So Andrea, were there any other questions that came in?
There are, and I'm like frantically scrolling through trying to keep up. Do you want to do our Marjorie and more resources announcements, and I'll try to get us a few to answer live here?
Yeah. So another slide we have is on Mardreaming. This is coming up. It is a free virtual conference that focuses on marketing. So you can register now for free. If you also want to attend the workshops, we have multiple workshops, and I will be doing a workshop on Data Cloud, Flow, and Einstein and how to use them together. The workshops are paid, but you can scan the QR code and register for the rest of the sessions for free. And then I wanted to put together some resources, so I know we will likely share some of these resources. I will probably also write another blog post with some of the FAQs from this webinar because I just can't stop myself from writing blog posts. But we do have a lot of resources already out on our blog, The Spot. So I've got, info about the announcements. We already have an FAQ blog post from the initial announcement and then I have the Salesforce, their announcement about account engagement users getting access to growth. And then we have a bunch of blog posts on how to do specific things in this tool as well.
All right, a couple of questions, Erin. I see a few shout outs to ABM. That feels like maybe a more in-depth discussion, so maybe the topic of a next blog. One on, is Marketing Cloud Growth available on simple demo orgs today?
That's SDO orgs, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, if you are a partner, you can get an SDO org and it includes growth and advanced.
Okay. Lovely. Yeah, some of these we might have to take offline. I'm just scrolling through and I want to make sure I'm not missing any questions. Lots of questions about, like, again, the growth and data cloud combination. And yes, data cloud is a dependency for growth, but I just want to reassure you it's way less daunting than it sounds. Like when I first heard that, I was like, ugh, like that means like our SMB mid-market customers aren't going to be able to do this, marketers aren't going to be able to self-serve on it. And we had several people go through the data cloud provisioning process. There's sort of like a wizardy backend to growth to get it enabled. And it took our whole team less than an hour. So if you want somebody to ride shotgun, we're happy to do that with you. But it's less daunting than it sounds.
Yeah. And the setup of growth includes a lot of data kits for you. So those data kits do a lot of the work of what you'd expect to have to do in Data Cloud. So essentially you install them and deploy them and it kind of sets up the back end for you. I felt the same when I was like, I have to set up Data Cloud now, like that's going to be impossible. And now I've done it a bunch of times. And honestly, it's not as hard as I thought.
I love when things like that happen like that in life. Usually things are way harder than you think they're going to be, not the other way
Exactly.
around. All right, well, let's wrap for today. We'll be sending out a follow-up email with lots of resources to learn more, lots of links to the things that we've been talking about today. But appreciate all of you joining us, and please don't hesitate to reach out with questions. As you guys probably have picked up, like Erin and I are super excited about this product in general, and we want to see Heart Out customers embracing it wholeheartedly and experimenting with it, like figuring out like how we can use it to move our marketing programs forward. So we'd love to hear how it's going for you all, whether or not you're a current Turcante customer, and keep us posted if we can do anything to help in any way. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.